In this module, I will be talking about evaluating performance on speaking activities. Evaluating performance on speaking activity is the most important one. And I would rather say that assessing students is the most important step that we teacher can take it in our classroom practice, because through this we can know how much students have learned, what sort of problems they have, what degree of accuracy that students had, and what are those problems that students still need to improve in their ability, and what are those skills that we use them to cover up with their problems. So assessing students is the most important step that we do it at the end of the course or at the end of the class, because we want to know, because every lesson has to have some objective and assessing part in the end. So in my courses that I taught it in abroad, there I had assessed students on sort of questionnaires, they answering those questionnaires, through which I can make a judgment of their abilities in comprehension of cohesive devices, or the planning or the strategy that they know them. I also interview students for a speaking ability. I trying to know their pronunciation and the grammar they use, the register they use, and the words that they use them. So it's very important that we can bring a sort of a model test of an IELTS, CELTA, Delta, any is okay, to bring it into our classroom, and we assess our students' speaking abilities through it, so that we can know how much our students have improved and how much they still need to improve from that level. Evaluating performance on speaking activities are too many. You can analyze it from different ways. You can generate a set of questions. So let me come up with some of those questions. So these questions could be as follows. Is accuracy of pronunciation and grammar is important? I believe yes, it's very, very important that students have a thorough knowledge of a grammar and pronunciation. And it is because pronunciation make it for listener more understandable than least understood. For example, in Pakistan, people, when they listen to native speakers, well, they have problem to understand them completely. And the reason behind all of these is that they don't really know the connected speech and the fastest speech, where the sounds of a vowel going weaker and stronger, and all of the pronunciation pattern that are very necessary for any of those people who want to learn English. It is because English is not only spoken in England, but it's also spoken on the globe. So therefore, it is very, very necessary for people to work on their pronunciation, and also for teachers to use audiolingual, video, and any sort of help that can bring that sort of ability into their students in the classroom practice. The next question is each participant expected to speak about the same amount of time in the classroom? Well, I believe yes, that students should have the opportunity to speak equally in the classroom. I believe that we can divide students in group and give equal opportunity to all the students that they speak. Now, it is a bit hard, but it is possible if we can manage the time of our class and divide activities in which all of these requirements would be fulfilled. The next question is it acceptable if speaker uses many long pauses and repetitions. Long pauses and repetitions. I believe no, it's not a good idea to have long pauses and repetition for many, many times, because it will place sort of disconnection between the listener and the speaker. It causes disconnection because the flow with respect to time of the sound waves will be absolutely disconnected. And the message that the words carries to the listener will be interrupted. So all of that bottom-up processes and top-down processes, that doesn't allow that sort of thing. So it is important that we should be covering up with all of those problems by teaching it more time and practicing them more, so that they cannot make long pauses and more repetitions in their speech. The next question is, if a speaker's contribution to a discussion is off the topic, does it matter? I think, yes, it matters, but at the same time, it's okay. Because when we're doing practice in the classroom, some of the group are presenting their work to the whole class. But some of them are not, because some of them have the responsibility to do comments on them and add extra points to it. So these are just sort of like away from the off the topic for these reasons. To solve this problem, we can also bring them, aid them up to swap or turn taking through their practice. So some groups will present for some times, and in others going to comments on them, add extra point to their work, and them will be swapped again, and that sort of exchange is very, very necessary to be in the classroom practice, so that we can cover up with this issue. It is matters, I suppose. It should not have to be there in the classroom practice. Evaluating performance on speaking activities, we see that we performing lectures, we are presenting informations, we're delivering speeches on a variety of issues. It is very necessary that there have to be a sort of clarity in those presentations, because the presenter have to have the skill of accuracy in his or her register to deliver that to the audience. Now, in the classroom environment, we have to bring that sort of an authentic situation that is taken from the real world example, bringing it into the classroom are very, very necessary to do it. Otherwise, the accuracy of completion of those tasks will not be to the highest degree of accuracy. They would be lesser than expected. It is also important to say that the discourse marker, repetition, and stress to emphasize important points is also very necessary when you're making a speech, presentation, and mini lecture, so on and so forth. Different speaking activities such as conversation, group discussion, and speeches make different types of demands on learners. They require different kinds of levels of preparation and support, and different criteria must be used to assess how will students carry them out. So let me conclude. Evaluating performance on the speaking activities are very, very important. You can't skip that from your teaching practice in the classroom. It has to be on each class basis or a weekly basis, or you can do it at the end of the course. But assessing students on their speaking ability is very, very important to do it in the classroom practice.